Welcome students. In today's video, we are going to study a new poem, My Shadow. My shadow. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me. And what can be the use of him is more than I can see. He is very, very like me from the heels up to the head. And I see him jump before me when I jump into my bed. The funniest thing about him is the way he likes to grow. Not at all like proper children, which is always very slow. For he sometimes shoots up taller like an Indian rubber ball, and he sometimes gets so little that there's none of him at all. One morning, very early before the sun, I was up. I rose and found the shining dew on every buttercup. But my lazy little shadow, like an errant sleepy head, had stayed at home behind me and was fast asleep in bed. By Robert Louis Stevenson. Now let us see the new words that we have come across. India rubber ball, a ball that can bounce very high. Buttercup, a yellow flower. Errant, bed. Students, read the poem silently. So let us see the explanation of the poem My Shadow. My Shadow is a poem written by Robert Louis Stevenson. This poem revolves around a child and his shadow. In the first stanza, the boy is a very good observer. He keeps observing the things the shadow does. The little shadow is always by his side. Further, even when he goes out, it follows him. He also notices the resemblance between the shadow and himself. Everything from head to toe is the same in his shadow. He notices that sometimes when he jumps into bed, the shadow gets in before he can. The feeling of his shadow following him excites him a lot. In the second stanza, the boy notices something funny about the shadow. The size of the shadow varies. He says that sometimes it grows tall and the other times it gets small in size. It is not like the normal kids who grow at normal rate. Sometimes the shadow shoots up taller like a ball that can bounce very high, and sometimes it gets so little that there's none of him at all. Last stanza, the poet talks about his experience in the morning. The child wakes up very early before the sun. So since it is very early, there is not much light around the boy, and hence the shadow is not present. The child is excited as the shadow did not follow him for the first time. He thinks that the shadow is so lazy that it did not get up in the morning and is still sleeping in bed. He thinks so because the shadow always jumps into bed with him, so he feels that it is still asleep. So students, you too must have experienced the same thing. And now you know that whenever there is light, it is the shadow that follows us.